You're single?
I am single. I am divorced and single.
Hey! Go ahead and put their hand up so they know, girl. They can find you. Swipe right, swipe left. So they can find you. Hey, beautiful people. It's Success Mentor Dante J. Worth, and I'm back with another video right here on Audacious Believer TV. Now, if this is your first time tuning in, I need you to make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure that you like this video. And make sure that you're commenting down below. Because me and my team absolutely love to read your comments. Now, tonight, we're being joined by the wonderful, the fabulous, the one, the only. Tell them who you are, darling.
I'm Lauri McKnight.
Yeah! Yes! So we invited Lauri McKnight on tonight to talk about reframing foster care. Before we talk about that, we're going to ask you the question we ask every single guest. What is your story?
Well, my story is actually a journey.
Yes.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. So I have grew up in a small Italian neighborhood in a nearby community. Okay. And really Italian. We all had to speak in the whole thing.
Oh, you got the whole thing all right now. Yes.
And so I had these great big plans that I was going to New York City and I was going to be a big lawyer. And I didn't want to deal with kids or anything, right?
Right.
So
life has a way.
Life has a way. All of a sudden I'm like, wait, I'm really young and I'm married and then, you know, I'm having kids.
Right.
Like, what's happening in my life? So that happened, and then I decided I need to go back to school, right? I've got to get somewhere in life and do something important. Yes. So I went back to school, and I decided I would be a professional student.
Oh, a professional. I love being a professional student of life, but okay. Yes.
I just kept going to school.
That's awesome.
So I obtained some degrees, early childhood, human services, criminal justice, a little bit of social work.
Wow,
you know, I just kept
that's awesome
it.
though.
And then proceeded to the to public and social policy.
Yes.
So anyway, that all happened along the way, and then my journey took me to another place. I got into the field of human services and met a family who I needed to help, and I took on 2 more children.
Oh wow!
And yes,
she's like, I got room. Come on over.
Just keep taking it, all right?
That's good.
And so all of a sudden I have 5 kids, right? And so I'm raising these children, and life does have a way. Things keep twisting and turning.
Yes, for the good.
And not always the good, but yes, and the good at the end, right? So you know, then I was divorced. Yes. And so now I have these 5 children, and then through the foster care system I've been working with, I inherited another child. Wow. So I just want you to know I have 3 cultures in my 6 children. Wow. So yeah, it's a crazy family.
That's cool though.
It is such a crazy family. So at holidays, we might be cooking pasta and piñatas and you know, greens. You know? So it's crazy, but so life has really been a journey, and all of a sudden I you know, find myself in this position where, boy, I have all these kids, and I'm in the field, I'm working with foster kids and families, and just knew I had to do more. So my journey brought me here to Rochester, where I felt so called to be.
Yes, we're so glad to have you here.
I love it. So here I am, and now I'm this executive director of this.
Right. Like, it just so happened to, I'm just so happy to be the executive director, darling. Yes.
What you're really
Yes. Of the children of waiting parents, correct? Yes.
And is it so ironic that I just kept accumulating kids, and here I am,
Look at you. Yes. Your life's purpose was driving you in the right direction.
Yes,
that's good.
Totally different than I thought.
Yeah, that's exactly.
So here I am. I mean, that's really my journey. I've worked with a lot of women in incarcerated and in supported living and moms over the years. Wow. So yes. I am very compassionate about this whole field.
That's good. We're so glad that you are. So when it comes to reframing foster care, what comes to mind?
So thinking about reframing foster care, I guess what really comes to my mind is that we have to change the system. We're not doing this well.
Right.
And one of the things that we know in my agency is that we're leaving children in foster care way too long. And here's the caveat: we leave them in foster care for a long period of time, and then we say, when you're 18, you can sign yourself out and you can do whatever you want to do from here.
Right.
But the reality is there's a whole lot of staggering statistics around what's happening to those kids.
Yeah.
The reframing piece has to be that we have to get kids moving out of the system faster, and we've got to find them home. So our agency, of course, is always trying to get those kids adopted.
Yes.
But if they don't choose to do that, we have to create a system that's going to support them as young adults.
Yes.
So that I really think we have a flawed system, and we have to fix it.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad you're in there doing the work. We're coming out there watching. What is the biggest call of action you can have for them take today?
Oh, the biggest call of action in this field is that we really have to think about permanency for kids. A lot of times I think because there's so many other issues out there, people think that they're in foster homes, they're okay. But that's not really happening. Our kids have been traumatized.
Yes.
Our kids are often experiencing discrimination. In addition to their trauma, they have a sense of not belonging anywhere and feeling like no one wants them.
Right.
So imagine what happens when they age out of foster care at 18 and they can't return to their family, they're not adopted. Who wants these kids? They're left with so much trauma and a sense of no sense of direction really.
Right. And as we have this expectancy that when you reach a certain age that you have a changed mindset.
Yes.
But a lot of us are really just recovering from our childhood through our adult ages.
That is exactly.
And when you have trauma involved, that's another level of recovery. And
Yes.
if there's no intervention, what do you do?
Yeah, and that's what we're seeing. One of the things that I'm really passionate about, here's my biggest passion, I should say, is those kids who age out of care. What is happening to them? And I, what we know is that kids who are languishing in foster care are typically males of color. So what do you think happens when they age out and they have no place to go and no one to turn to?
Right.
So we really want to start to work on that and reframe that whole process to give those kids a connection.
Oh, that's good.
And
That's good. I love it. Now we talk about trauma. We talk about there's a trauma being taken away from your parents, but there's another level of trauma that comes with being a person of color, person of LGBT background.
Right.
So how do we as the community or build community, or how do we support those children?
Well, that is one of the hardest, I think, groups of kids to really help support them through this process that they're going through, which is a discrimination on many levels.
Yes.
It is layers and layers and layers, and they really struggle with their identity and who am I, who wants me.
Yes.
So one of the things that we're all doing in this field is working on trauma-informed care, and we're training people about what does trauma look like, and to peel back each layer of trauma. So of course we talk about therapy and counseling, but there has to be a support system for those kids and understanding. So so
we're doing the work.
We are.
You are doing the work. We appreciate that. I know that there are so many young people out there, or just not even young people out there who think out of sight, out of mind, that if they don't have a foster child within their own network, they really don't really understand the process of what these children go through. How can we, in this moment, just kind of help them understand that we need their help? We need your help to help change this narrative.
Absolutely. We really do need to get the word out. And so we're recruiting for foster parents, adoptive parents, and some voluntary parents for these kids who do age out. But it's very difficult to get people to want to jump into that. There's some liability, it disrupts your home. And that's why the training piece is so important. We offer all kinds of information groups and just conversations that will help people understand why you are the right person.
You are! You got another place at the table? Come on, open it up! Open it up for a child. That's good. That is so good. Okay, and what is the one thing that really drives you to keep going in this field? Why do you keep going? Why do you do it?
Oh, I'm glad you asked me that. So it is passion and compassion. It is thinking about how we can change the trajectory of kids' lives.
Yes.
They don't have to be in all of these situations, poverty and trauma for their whole life. So if I'm so passionate about seeing youth achieve their dreams, achieve a greater destiny, and so and to help them believe in themselves. They deserve to believe in themselves.
Yes, that's good. Are you ready for rapid fire questions?
Okay.
Favorite book?
My favorite book. I have just been reading The Color of Law, and I think it's really good.
Oh, is it good?
So yeah,
try that
it's
out.
really
Check
good.
that out yet.
I think it might be. It might be one right up there.
All right. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Oh, this is going to sound crazy. I love The Bronx Tale.
It's good. Yes, it's good. It's good. It's good. I like it. What do you see when you look in the mirror?
Oh, I see a person who has aspirations and continues to grow and achieve all of those aspirations with compassion and genuineness and so much heart to give to everyone.
Yes,
I love people.
you do.
And
I love your good
see
energy.
that.
I do.
I thank you for that because some people think it's a little much.
What do you hope that your legacy will be?
That's such a great question. My hope is really that I'm going to absolutely change something for our youth. And one of my goals is that we are going to see an end to some of the traumatic situations that our kids live in.
Yes.
And an end to homelessness.
Oh,
so I have a huge heart I really want to be remembered for moving forward in changing youth's lives.
Yes! And to be audacious means to be.
To be audacious means to be, yikes.
Whatever you wanted to be to be.
It means to be, really, to me, it's just being that energetic, passionate person.
Yes! So tell me how I can find you online, how they can support the Children Awaiting Parents.
Yes. Oh, that would be great. So you can find us at www.childrenawaitingparents.org or call the office 585-232-5110 or email me, Lauri McKnight at capbook.org.
Woo! There we go. Until next time, remember that life is meant to be enjoyed and not just endured.